9 years on statins and ezetimibe, my cholesterol got worse, not better. The NHS blood tests don't lie. I'm Neil, I've got 13 years of cholesterol data. My GP supervised this entire journey. In the next 10 minutes, what my cholesterol was before medication and what happened over 9 years on medication, what my cardiovascular risk actually did and why I stopped. Statins lower cholesterol. That's what they're designed to do. The GP prescribes them. You take them daily. Cholesterol comes down. Cardiovascular risk reduces. It's evidence-based medicine. And for a lot of people, that's exactly what happens. Statins are one of the most prescribed medications in the UK for a reason. NICE guidelines recommend them for primary prevention when your 10-year cardiovascular risk hits a certain threshold. It's standard protocol. I believed it completely. My cholesterol was 7.5 in 2012. GP said statins, made sense. I started on atorvastatin, later added ezetimibe, a second drug that blocks cholesterol absorption in the gut. Dual therapy, belt and braces. I trusted the process. I took the pills every single day. Rarely missed a dose for 9 years. Here's what nobody tells you. Medication working and medication appearing to work are two different things. And the only way to know which one you're living with is to track the data over years, not months. That's what I did. Let me walk you through the numbers, all the NHS blood tests and all of my medical record. April 2012, the baseline before any medication, total cholesterol was 7.5, which was high. HDL, that's the protective cholesterol, 1.6. Cholesterol to HDL ratio, 4.7, and that's the ratio that matters. Under 5 is the target. I was inside it, barely, but inside it. My triglycerides were 3.4, well above reference range. Liver enzyme was 37, normal. Glucose 4.5, fine. So the picture in 2012, cholesterol high, but ratio within target, liver healthy, no diabetes risk. Started statins shortly after that test. October 2016, 4 years on medication, my cholesterol was 7, slight improvement, but the ratio 4.8. Still within target, HbA1c had crept to 40. That's borderline pre-diabetic. Wasn't there before. Now here's where it gets interesting. 2 months later in December 2016, another blood test, cholesterol 5.3, ratio 4.2. That's the one reading in 13 years where statins looked like they're working. Brilliant, I'm not going to ignore that, it happened. But it was an outlier. 2 months earlier, 7. 2 months later, 5.3. Same medication, same dose, same person. Cholesterol doesn't halve in 8 weeks on a stable dose of statins. Something else was going on. Timing of the test, what I'd eaten, fasting status, I don't know. But one good reading in 9 years doesn't make a trend. July 2020, 8 years on dual therapy. This is where it gets ugly. Total cholesterol 7.4, higher than 2012 baseline on 2 medications. HDL had dropped from 1.6 to 1.33. Protective cholesterol was going the wrong way. Ratio 5.9. Now outside the target. Was 4.7 in 2012 without medication. Now 5.9 with medication. Triglycerides 5.4. 360% above the upper reference limit on dual cholesterol therapy. HbA1c 43.2, pre-diabetic. The lab report actually said consistent with pre-diabetic hyperglycemia, and here's the one thing that still bothers me, uric acid 502, outside reference range. I was on alpurinol for gout at the time. The gout medication wasn't controlling it either. 8 years, 2 cholesterol drugs, 1 gout drug, asthma inhalers daily, antihistamines daily, 5 medications, and the numbers were getting worse, not better. December 2023, 9 years on statins, the final blood test while still on medication, total cholesterol was now 8, the highest reading I'd ever had. Higher than 7.5 in 2012 when I wasn't on any medication at all. HDL 1.3 down from 1.6 in 2012, and protective cholesterol was at its lowest. Cholesterol to HDL ratio was now 6.2. It started at 4.7. Now 6.2, that's a 32% increase in cardiovascular risk on medication. LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, 5.6. HbA1c, 46. 1 point below a diabetes diagnosis. Liver enzymes, alt 69. Normal upper limit is 40. Mine was 73% above that. Liver stress, after 9 years of processing 2 cholesterol medications daily. Let me say that again. April 2012, no medication. Cholesterol 7.5, ratio 4.7, liver normal. December 2023, 9 years on dual therapy, cholesterol 8, ratio 6.2, liver stressed, worse. Across the board. Documented on the NHS records. On Boxing Day 2023, I started 18-6 fasting, non-UPF eating, walk daily. The basics, nothing exotic. In February 2024, last tablet was taken. Last inhaler was used. Done. Having stopped, I decided to stop taking any more medication in the February of 2024. 9 years of worsening numbers on medication. Agreed with my doctor that I wouldn't take it for a little while and we'd see what happened. March 2024, just 1 month off all the medication, my total cholesterol was 7, down from 8, just in 1 month. It had been better than any reading during the final 5 years on medication. My liver enzyme result was 28, down from 69, 59% improvement in just 30 days. The liver stress was medication induced. Removing the medication, my liver recovered. The fasts, cholesterol-to-HDL ratio 5.4, down from 6.2, was moving in the right direction. April 2025, 14 months off all medication. My total cholesterol was 7.11. LDL was 3.8, 32% improvement from the 5.6 peak on medication. Closer to the target than 11 years of statins had ever achieved. My HDL, 1.5, up from 1.3. Protective cholesterol was rising. Resistance training, 3-4 times a week, kettlebells, body weights, progressive overload. HDL responds to physical stimulus, not pills. Cholesterol to HDL ratio was now 4.7, same as it was back in 2012. Full circle, back within target, without medication. CRP, that's inflammation, 1, down 84% from January. Near zero. Liver enzyme alt, 23% below the peak on statins. HbA1c, 37. My lowest ever actually recorded. Pre-diabetes was reversed. And then my GP ran a Q Risk 2 assessment. That's the NHS cardiovascular risk calculator. 10-year risk score, 7.28%. She sent me an email message. I've still got it. Direct quote from the NHS record. Your cholesterol is elevated, but at the moment you do not need cholesterol lowering medication. That's not me interpreting data. That's the NHS. That's my GP looked at the full picture and said no statins were needed. November 2025. 20 months off all the medication. Most recent bloods, cholesterol 6.77. The lowest off medication reading yet. Still high by the reference range, yes, but trending down. Without drugs. Ratio 4.8, within target. HbA1c 37, holding nicely, normal. Liver enzyme alt 10. 10, started at 37 in 2012. On no meds, peaked at 69 on statins, now 10. This is my data, n equals 1, one person, not a clinical trial. I'm not saying statins don't work for a lot of people. They may do. If your cholesterol's improving on medication, your ratio's within targets, your liver's fine, brilliant, keep going. That's your data telling you the medication doing its job. But if you've been on statins for years and your numbers aren't improving or they're getting worse, you're allowed to ask why. Why not? That's not anti-medicine. That's reasonable. Here's what I'd suggest. Track your biomarkers, not just total cholesterol, the ratio, HDL, liver enzymes, HbA1c, the full picture. 6 months minimum, ideally year or 2. One blood test tells you nothing. A trend tells you everything. Then sit down with your GP, show them the trajectory, ask the question, is this medication working for me? Not do statins work? That's a population question. Is this working for me? That's a personal question. And your GP can help you answer it. My GP looked at 9 years of data and agreed to a supervised trial off medication. Yours might say the same, or yours might say, actually, your numbers show the medication is helping. Either answer is the right answer, as long as it's based on your data, not assumptions. When to question the protocol? When you've followed it faithfully for years and the numbers aren't moving or they're going backwards. When to trust the protocol? When your data shows it's working. Data beats assumptions every time. If you're on cholesterol medication and want to start tracking your numbers properly, I've built a free guide, the 7-Day Fasting Blueprint. It walks you through the basics of what I did. Fasting window, real food, what to track, and how to have that conversation with your GP. The link is in the description. And please, this is educational content only. It is not medical advice. Never stop or change your medication without your GP's supervision.